It's a funny thing really, because I started off wanting to do this as just a little bit of a height reset, and just like a kid at Christmas time or Easter time, you can have one egg or open one present. That was my intention, and then I just opened everything and just went for hell for leather. Right guys, we are back on the East Coast, back at home, and today we're going to do something here with the TifTuf. Now, all season long I've been able to keep this TifTuf lawn mown with the walk behind at 8mm. Just before I went to Western Australia, I got a bit tied up with work. I had a few things pop up and I couldn't actually get onto it. It started to grow away a little bit. So I jumped back on the triplex, the 3250, which is set at 12mm, and I went over it and it came up looking really, really well. So I mowed that the day before I left to go west. And when I came back 10 days later, I gave it a mow the next day. And unfortunately, in that time, it had got away and it started to scalp a little bit after mowing. We're now at the end of March. So if I was going to do anything about it, I've really got to do it now. And I think by the time this video comes out, it'll be too late for you guys to do this in generally most of Australia. Maybe Queensland get away with a height cut reset, but today we are going to do a height cut reset on this TifTuf. Now, generally speaking, it's been really, really good, and there's only a few little bits here that have had some minor scalping. This was mowed yesterday, and really in about 2 days time you won't even see it. But what we're going to do is, first of all, I'm going to show you the difference between a bench height and an actual height cut. Righto, so what am I actually talking about? When we set a cylinder mower to cut turf at a certain height, we can use a height cut bar. And basically what we're doing here is the front, one side of the bar, one side of the bar goes on the front roller and the other side goes on the rear roller. And this little screw here is our actual height. And we can set that with a tape measure, and we can wind it in, and basically that will become our height of cut. Now, at the beginning of a season when you're freshly renovated, that's not so much of an issue because we've gone down from dirt, down to dirt renovation or our top dress or whatever. So we're starting on a clean slate. But as the season progresses on, what happens is the turf starts to mat and thatch and start to build up. And of course, even with a really heavy cylinder mower, you're not pushing right down to the dirt anymore. What you're sitting on is the turf canopy. So when we actually now go down and we dig down into the turf here and we look for the actual ground level, which is about there, and we put tape in it. See here, well, you might not, but I can, our actual height of cut in this instance off the soil level is 30mm. So that's a long way short of our 8 to start with and our 12 going on. So today what I want to do is I'm going to give this a double scarify, and then I'm going to go over it with the triplex just to clean it up. It'll take a little bit more height out of it. Then I'm going to cut it with the walk behind at the 8mm. Going forward from that, I'll probably bring it up to 10 and then back to 12 for substantial, I can't get the word out, cuts going forward. Subsequent, I don't know, whatever that word is. Mine's not working properly this morning. But anyway, that's the plan today. As I said, if you're if you're New South Wales, it's going to be too late. Victoria, too late. Western Australia, maybe. But Queensland, you're probably good by the time this video comes out. But again, really, all sorts of height resets and all that sort of stuff probably really needs to be done first week in March to be safe at the latest. So anyway, guys, look, let's crack on. I'm sure this is going to dredge up a heap of material, but overall, this hasn't performed any differently to the Santarana. In fact, I did that yesterday with the Santarana. It was actually scalping, if not anything, a little bit more, but this is still holding amazing color. Righto, so been over that twice now with the scarifier. Didn't go down on the absolute lowest of low settings. We just I tried to get down to about the dirt level, but nothing into the soil where possible. Looking pretty good. Now, as I've said quite a few times before, obviously this is all viable plant material and can be actually planted out and made a new lawn. What I think we'll do in springtime, might actually do that at Mum and Dad's. So got a few little projects coming up in the winter time at Mum and Dad's, but I think in spring I'm going to prepare a bit of ground in their backyard. We'll take a bit of this TifTuf and we'll do a sprigging experiment and just see how we go. But anyway, for now, let's crack on. I've actually just found, while I've been doing this, I've come across what I think is a little bit of paspalum. I didn't look too closely. I just sort of probably foolishly went over it with the scarifier. But anyway, let's have a look. We'll dig it out because that's the only weed I've seen in this lawn all year. So very, very happy with that. Where were you? It might be a case of finding it after I've picked it up. There it is there. Let's have a look. What do we got here? Well, I do believe we might have a bit of paspalum there, just a little patch, probably a seed that's blown in. Even with pre-emergence, you know, it is possible that you are going to face the occasional weed that does get through, but generally speaking, we're pretty good. Let's see what we've got. I don't think I actually managed to get the main stalk of that then, but I might just have to keep a little bit of a what's that bit there? Keep a bit of an eye on that going forward. But it'll come back, and I'll dig it out. Okay, so once this scarifying material has dried just a fraction more, I will grab that John Deere mower, pick it up in the catcher. It just makes large jobs like this a little less hard work and a little bit more enjoyable. Now, the other thing I was going to say was, as I've sort of fine-tuned how I do my renovations and seasonal sort of practices, etc., I've sort of started to hone in on, I'm enjoying the benefits of potentially watering the morning of or the night before. A couple of reasons that is, it does keep the dust down a little bit, especially if you're in a neighbourhood where dust could be an issue. Keeps the dust down, and I've also noticed in sandy conditions, if you're scalping with a scalping mower and you've got a sandy profile, it helps just to keep that sand from getting sucked up in the mower and causing excessive wear and tear and all that sort of stuff. So I gave this a water this morning with the sprinklers, and it's looking pretty good now. So righto, just as luck would have it, just about to start collecting all the scarifying material, and the old boy heard the noise down the road. Dad's wandered up, decided he'd want to lend a hand, so I've chucked him on the mower. Gives me the opportunity to get some pretty cool footage, and I'll just empty the bags as he fills them up. That really is saving me a lot of time. Having a bigger lawn like this and having a machine like that John Deere really is a bit of a godsend really. Now, Just looking around here now, so all we've really done now is a double scarify and collected it up. I'm just going to go and find the tape measure again now and just see how the double scarify has improved our situation. Because remember, we started off this with a actual height of cut of 30 millimeters. Even though I've been mowing this at 12 millimeters for the last 2 cuts with the triplex, and before that at 8 millimeters. So I'm going to grab that tape measure now and just see what it's sitting at now before we put an actual mower on it, and see how much thatch and mat that we've actually reduced. Righto, so that's brought it down already to about 15 mils, and that's before we even put a mower on it. So be very interested to see after we mow this with a triplex. I don't think we'll still get to the 12, but I could be wrong. Let's find out. Right, it's been a little while since the Greensmaster, the 3250 triplex, has been featured on the channel, and to the keen observer, you'll notice there's been a few changes / improvements. Finally got the screen fitted for the radiator, got the logo back on it, the Greensmaster 3250D logo that was actually missing or had came off when I bought it. And the best part is, got this awesome Toro seat. So Scone Outdoors hooked me up with this amazing suspension seat. It's a heap more comfy than what was on there. It's plush. It's a really nice seat. So huge shout out to those guys. I did pay for all that sort of stuff. It's not a freebie, but I'm just appreciative of those guys looking after me in that sense. So look, we're going to run over this area here now with the triplex. As I said, 12 millimeters. Then I'm going to get that tape measure back out again and just see how far off that 12 millimeter actual versus bench height of cut we get. But I still do intend on going down to 8 with the walk behind. But as I said, going forward, I'm going to bring it back up a little bit. Obviously going into winter, things aren't going to be growing quite as fast, and I want to speed up my mowing time. So let's just see how it goes after we finish with the mower. I've got to be honest, I really love that mower, and it does a really fine job. Let's just have a look now, see what we're looking at with our level now. Look, it's somewhere around 12 to 15 mils here, but let's have a look up in the more scalpy section, because there's a few sections towards the back of the lawn here that have scalped in, which I did expect. So let's just have a look, see what that's at, because I suspect it might still be a bit longer, but if not, it's probably, it might be 12, we'll find out. Righto, so we've got a fairly scalpy bit there and a not too bad piece there. Let's just have a little look, see where we're at. Yeah, look, it's still 20 mils, 20 mils, 25 in that section there. So there's still quite a lot of material that we can remove. Now, if this here didn't scalp, you could have really left the lawn the way we've done it now. So just a double scarify and a mow, but this section here isn't really going to improve. So I still would like to take it down with our 8mm mow and then bring it back up to 10, and then subsequently, there's the word, subsequently, that's the one I couldn't get out this morning, subsequently back up to our 12 mil with the triplex going forward. So righto, it is now the next morning. Yesterday afternoon I had a few jobs and stuff to take care of in town, so I had to sort of stop what I was doing, but today we'll carry on. So next step now is we're going to grab that 1600, that Toro walk behind mower, and take this down to its preset 8 mils. Now, there's a tiny little part of me that thinks that maybe this could be still a little bit too thick for it. We'll just see how we go. I know towards the pathway down there it won't be a problem, but as we get up here, it's probably a bit of an ask for that sort of a mower, but we'll see how we go. It may mean that we may just do a mini scalp, not a dirt scalp, but a mini scalp with a rotary mower, but we'll just try first with the Toro and we'll see how we go. That's sort of looking like what I was hoping to achieve, but unfortunately I just feel it's a little bit too hard for that machine and I don't want to break it. So I am going to grab out a scalpy mower, just a rotary mower, not going down to crazy low. I just want to get through that upper level of thickness, and then we'll do a clean cut at the end there with that once we knock a bit more of that heavy stuff out. The combination of this still being a little bit wet and a little bit dewy from the dew this morning, and the fact that it's such a wide machine, yeah, I just don't want to load it up. I just don't want to give it any damage. I'm pretty convinced that once we get up to this thicker stuff up the top, it's just not going to go through. So let's change plan a little bit. We'll get a scalpy mower out and we'll just take that top layer off with it. Some of you that have been watching the channel now for a while might remember this mower. In our springtime renovation with Emerson, Bushranger sent me this mower to trial, and unfortunately on the day, it just didn't go low enough to be of use for what I needed to achieve. Now, I know a lot of you guys said drill a hole, you know, in the height to make it go lower and all that sort of stuff, and I did speak to Bushranger and they were okay for me to do that, but it still didn't quite get where I needed it to be. What I've actually done is I've had a spacer, a professionally made spacer, just to drop the whole blade down a little bit, and it's been an absolute game changer. So I have used it a little bit as a scalping mower. It does now match the Victor, and I actually think it's probably better. Now, not going to go that crazy low today. Just going to, as I said, take the, just sort of bite down into this canopy a little bit, and then still do our final cut with the cylinder mower. this thing is now an absolute beast. That's an earplug for a reference of what it's doing. But seriously, that thing now with that spacer is a whole different machine, and it's doing a really, really good job. So that was the bit that we went over with the 1600s. As you can see, there's still a fair bit there to be brought up. And in places, excuse me, in places, there's still quite a bit of green. So that's good. In other places, there's no green, but not too concerned. I've still got here at least 6 weeks of warm weather, 4 to 6, probably we'll call it 5 to be fair. I'm not at all worried. Fertilizer, water, happy days. Well, I reckon I'd have to absolutely be kidding myself if I thought for any minute that that cylinder bar was going to get through this. There was a lot more hiding there than I actually realised. And, you know, it's a funny thing really, because I started off wanting to do this as just a little bit of a height reset, and just like a kid at Christmas time or Easter time, you can have one egg or open one present. That was my intention, and then I just opened everything and just went for hell for leather. So it's turned into something a little bit more aggressive than what I thought, but I'm still not too concerned. Look, there's plenty of material there. Got plenty of time left in the season in this part of the world. Probably a little bit fortunate in that sense, and if nature happens to throw a curveball at me, I've got products there that, you know, if I really need to get it moving, I can do that. But for now, I'm just going to stick to the plan of the fertilizer, irrigation, and I'm pretty confident it's going to come back and look pretty good just in time to finish off the season. Wasn't intending on getting the John Deere back out to pick up any more material, but looks like I've got no alternative. So we'll jump back on that rider mower, clean this up, see what we're left with, and I might just go over it one final time with the walk behind reel mower, just to sort of tidy it all up, see how it looks. Righto, well that is looking a lot better. Didn't set out to do it this way, but it's the way it's played out. I'd hate to think how much grass material I've taken to the dump in the last couple of days. I've really had to pack that trailer down now to get the last of it in. And I was just there thinking, geez, I'm glad I'm not allergic to this couch grass, because I'd be in all sorts of bother if I was. I still want to just go over this now with that walk behind. It's going to engage the groomer. Trying to get a few little straggly bits there. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with how this is, and moving forward, we'll just fertilise and irrigate. Righto, well before we move on to our fertilising and so forth, I just want to have a look and see how we're going here. And all I can tell you is it's under 10. So achieve what we set out. There's still plenty of grass here, there's still plenty of cover. It's just, just a matter of now of letting it recover and getting it looking good just as the season comes to an end. And obviously this will make a spring renovation much easier. Okay, so one of the last remaining steps now obviously is to give it a feed. Now, if you've been watching the channel for a while, you know that I've been using Plant Doctor products for quite some time now and still continue to do so. If you are looking for any Plant Doctor products, if you use the code BREN10, I'll put the link on the screen there. The code on the screen will give you 10% off your orders at checkout. Good quality product. I like the fact that this one is a mini prill, so it's not mini prill as in some of the greens grade products, but for a home lawn, it's pretty good. So that's what we're going to put out today. We're going to go the upper rate, which is the 4 kilos per 100 square meters. And we'll kick this into gear just before the end of the season. Now, there's one other thing that I want to do tomorrow morning, and that is I want to put down some bifenthrin insecticide. So I still have some ant issues here in the lawn. So it's too hot now and it's a little bit too breezy. I don't feel like putting on a spray suit at this time of day. So I'll get up early in the morning and I'll put that out then, probably with some soil wetter, some of the seaweed stuff from Plant Doctor, etc. So we'll throw this on now, we'll put the water on, and we'll resume in the morning. Righto guys, well I'll chuck some water on now and I'll see you in the morning. Good morning, we are back, and overnight the ants have been very busy. As I look around, I don't know how well you can see it on camera, but we have got ant mounds 4 days. Just little ones, they're little tiny ants. They're just enough to cause these little piles of build up here. So yeah, got them there. They're all along the street. And in actual fact, they're over here on the Santa Ana as well. So I'll have a quick look at that and see what's going on over there. Oh, here we are. Look, here's a nice little colony here as well. So we're definitely going to put out some product today. But we'll just have a quick look over here first and see what we can see. In fact, it probably looks a bit worse. So yep, again here, just a general covering all over. Unfortunately, that's just what happens at time to time, and I don't like using chemicals when I don't have to. It is worth mentioning products like acelepryn, for example, don't control ants. They're good for your grubs and your worms. Yeah, I should clarify that, your army worms, black beetle larvae, black beetles, etc. But when it comes to ants, not suitable. We need to be looking for a bifenthrin-based product. So let's get that happening now before the sun pokes through these clouds and it becomes really hot. Yeah, because wearing a spray suit in the full sun is not fun. So, product I'm going to use today for insecticide is Zeus. So it does contain bifenthrin. Now, when you're chasing or treating or targeting ants, for example, we need to get this to be watered into the ground. So after we apply this, we irrigate it in. So I'm going to take the opportunity today of using these products as well. So obviously seaweed from Plant Doctor. So basically that's our tonic. It's going to be like our vitamin tablet, if you will, for the lawn to help it, give it every opportunity to recover nicely in time. Going to use some Quantum H as well today, which is going to help unlock any nutrients that may be locked up in the soil, make them more available to the plant and help to improve soil structure. The other one we've got is soil wetter. Now we want to add a soil wetter to help carry this into the soil as best as possible. And finally, some Stimulizer just to help stimulate as much root growth as possible. So we'll get all this together. If in doubt, always do a jar test first, just to be sure that all these chemicals are compatible together. So basically a jar test would just be a little cup, for example, put a little tiny bit of each in, and if it doesn't change its viscosity or its appearance or do anything funky, you're generally right to go. All these products can be irrigated in after application. That's the other thing that we're looking for. So let's crack on. Go. I cannot stress enough the importance of PPE. Full length spray suits. I prefer these Tyvek ones because if there is a leak in a backpack spray, it's not going to contact your skin, it's going to run down the back. Appropriate mask for the job, safety glasses, and if you're bald like me, or if you're not bald like me, cover your head as well. Right, let's crack on, let's get it done before it gets too hot. Oh. Oh. Oh, it's hot in there. As you probably noticed, I prefer to do a double pass, so I'll go straight up, straight back. Some people just do a single pass, some people do a crisscross, whatever works for you guys. I've calibrated my sprayer in a sense that I go straight up, straight back, and I'm happy I've got that down. So from here on in, what we'll be doing now, get some water on this, get it washed in. You will find that there will be some surface bugs and grubs and stuff that may come up to the surface, may die. I did notice when I went over this entire lawn, there looked to be a few tracks from probably what would be the mole cricket. So got that all sorted. I might give it 10 minutes on the leaf. I'll remix this tank up and do the rest of the lawn. In the meantime, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the episode, and we'll catch you next time on the Aussie Lawn.